Please welcome Hannah Bauer, Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Hello, I'm Hannah. I'm an incredibly unathletic person. Don't be fooled by the picture. And I'm going to tell you about my first ultramarathon. An ultramarathon is any distance over a marathon, which is 26.2 miles. Common distances are 50K, 50 miles, 100K, and 100 miles. Most ultras are held on the trail, making them extra gnarly because you're running over technical terrain. So why did I want to run one? I will do anything for a misplaced sense of smug superiority. And my mile time is unimpressive, but I have a high pain tolerance that I was ready to put to the test. So in December 2019, I signed up for the Dirty 30 in Golden Gate Canyon State Park in Colorado, 32 miles and 7,600 feet of climbing. As you may recall, in March 2020, things went pretty sideways, but my primary hobby was running alone in the woods for literal hours, so my training was on point. But though I tried so hard and got so far, in the end, it didn't even matter. The race was canceled due to plague. So the next year I signed up again, but about 4 weeks into my training in January, my husband came home from teaching not feeling well, and a few days later, we both tested positive for COVID. That was 5 weeks of vital training down the drain as I recovered. So given the Rona of it all, I had to adjust my goal from finish in under 10 hours to finish, period, because I was still going to do the race or die trying. Though if I'm being honest, I was less afraid of dying and more afraid of pooping my pants. Come race day, I had never been so nervous, not even here that I'm standing making an ass of myself in front of like 200 people. My strategy was to take it aid station by aid station and focus on making the cutoff times. I knew that if I thought about the whole distance, I would completely fall apart. Speaking of falling, around mile 9, I totally ate it. The course was full of terrifying downhills with chunky loose rocks, but I was actually running a gravel flat when my fall occurred, making it even more embarrassing. I made myself get up and stumble on, but I stopped in my tracks when I looked down and saw just how much my knee had bled. Another passing runner gave me a little pep talk, and a couple miles later, I was at the next aid station. Throughout the course of the day, no fewer than 3 different volunteers actively tended to my wound with hydrogen peroxide, Neosporin, Band-Aids, and moleskin, though by mile 20, I had accepted it. There would be blood. The worst pain, though, was in my mind. Somewhere between the second and third aid station, I went to a dark place. A photographer appeared and asked how it was going. I mumbled, "Oh, it's going," but he heard, "Not so good," which was in fact the truth. He said it was only a couple miles to the next aid station, all downhill, and he said he hoped I felt better soon. The next aid station was at mile 17 point something, and lots of people were trying to quit. But the volunteers at this aid station were determined not to let anyone drop for anything less than life-threatening illness. I heard one woman tell a runner, "If it's just your stomach that's bothering you, you can keep going. Have some ginger ale." During the second half of the race, I talked with a girl named Allison from Boulder. She asked if there was lots of vert in Nebraska, and I said no, and she said, "Well, I'm sure there are still other ways to train." And given my performance up to this point, I was thinking clearly not, because I thought we'd already finished Windy Peak, the biggest climb of the race. But that was still to come. The course takes runners up Windy Peak and then back down the same way. When a runner coming down saw our green first-timer bibs, she said, "Way to go, you two. I'm so proud of you for doing this." And Allison looked at me and said, "Wow, I'm about to cry." And honestly, so was I. In fact, I'd been near tears at several points during the race, as early as mile 3. And I think it was just the catharsis of finally doing this race after a year and a half. It only took 11 hours and 9 minutes, but I did it. 415 runners started. 366 finished. I was number 346. So what did I learn? 1, despite our cultural obsession with rugged individualism, nobody does anything important on their own. I only got it done because I had the support of my friends and my family, my husband, the volunteers, and the other racers. 2, I learned that some things are just intrinsically valuable. Yeah, it's cool to improve your mile time, or say you ran a ton of miles, or get really jacked legs, but all of that is less important than the work you do on yourself in the process. Every day that I got up to run in the snow and the ice and the heat and the humidity, every minute during the race I kept going when I desperately wanted to quit, I made a decision. I made a decision to show up for myself. So if there's one thing I want y'all to take away from this, it's the encouragement to get out there and do something that makes you cry, sweat, even bleed, because doing those things is worth it. But I know what you're all really wondering is, did I get bingo? No, my friends, I did not. I didn't even shit my pants. Welcome to ultra running, a sport where I didn't shit my pants is a legit thing to brag about. Thank you all so much for listening. Happy trails.